So coming to your second question about what is erotology.
Yeah.
Erotology is it's the study of sexual desire and the act of lovemaking. So you could say it's so you've got sexology.
Yeah.
It's similar to sexology, but the difference between erotology and sexology, sexology generally just looks at the study of sex, but from like a medical perspective.
Right.
Whereas erotology is not only looking at the study of sex from a, you could say, medical perspective, but it's also speaking about from a holistic, whether it's a religious or philosophical perspective, where people are giving advice. Whereas if you were to speak to a sexologist, they would just go by what researchers says. Whereas an erotologist will speak about the research in terms of sex studies and sexual research, but also will talk about the ethics. So erotology speaks about sexual ethics as well as the science of sex, whereas sexologists, which generally we hear about sexology nowadays, they just think about sex being research says X, Y, and Z, and, that's and without, you could say, passing judgment. Whereas an erotologist, if you're speaking about ethics, you are passing judgment. So obviously from an Islamic perspective, we know that sex is an act that should only be conducted between a man and woman within the confines of marriage. So that's your passing the judgment, because that's what Allah and His Prophet ﷺ said. So if you're an erotologist, you're speaking from the perspective of generally, the ethics of sex. So again, this was a topic in terms of erotology, and in Arabic it's called ilm al-bah, meaning the knowledge of sex or the study of sex, that Muslim scholars, well-renowned scholars like Imam al-Suyuti, who I mentioned earlier, he wrote 23 books about this topic. 23 books about the importance of men pleasuring their wives, the importance of wives pleasuring their husbands, and the intricacies of sex. So not just the acts and the mechanics of sex, but the importance of